On this episode of the Best of Bias Podcast, your boy is back. Today is Saturday, so I'm giving y'all a Saturday edition of the Best of Bias Podcast. Hey, my bad. I know it's not Friday. You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys been ready for the sporadic drops. Hope you got those bells and those notifications popped up for your boy. Because it gets a little wild in this life of mine, but I'm here today. I'm happy to be here. We got a bunch of sports, but I did add some couple of pop culture and some cinema corner in this one, so it's not all sports. So you're in for a fully loaded podcast today. So we'll get it in today. We have a lot to discuss. So I'm happy you guys are back. Happy you guys are still listening every week. New listeners, welcome. Old listeners, like I like to call my family, welcome back. It's the Best of Bias podcast. You know what I'm saying? The sun is shining, I hope, out there for you. We had a little NFL action happening on Thursday. And there's some play-in NBA action happening here on Friday as well. So when you listen to this on Saturday, some of this stuff may have passed. And let's preview some college football stuff. You know what I'm saying? Listen to this before you watch the games. I'll give some predictions. I'm gonna talk about Oregon, talk about a little bit of Colorado and some of the stuff that happened to them in UCLA. They got their luggage and all their stuff, all their gear and their bags and stuff robbed. So we'll talk about that. A lot of stuff to talk about today. Some fantasy football preview week 9. Talk about week 8. NBA not opening night, but so far what we've seen when Binyama's out there balling. In-season tournament started on Friday, so I'll talk about that a little bit. Fantasy, some pop culture, RIP Matthew Perry. LA Comic-Con is coming up, so I'll talk about that too. 2023, that's the second one in a row me and Damon are going to. So I'll talk a lot about that, a little bit about that actually. And hopefully the SAG and after the strike ends soon, so the Comic-Con could be a lot more live than some of the other cons that's been going on during the strike, the writer strike and the actor strike, director strike now. So we'll see what's going on with that. And then, of course, Loki episodes 4 and 5. I told you I'll review that, give a Lydell Dinero style review. Nobody on here to talk about it with me today. So I'll just give my kind of reviews. You know how those go, kind of touch on some bullet points. I'll be everywhere, but I'll just be talking about some stuff you may have seen, may have some questions. Of course, I watch heavy spoilers. Shout out to them with the reviews afterwards to kind of be in touch with some stuff I may have missed, some Easter eggs and stuff like that. So I'll drop some of that knowledge, talk a little bit about Invincible 2. That season 2 dropped a couple of days ago. And then Gen V, the finale. I don't know if it was the finale, but just the end of the series and how I felt about how it ended. I got some things to say. So it's the Best of Bias podcast. Welcome to another podcast. It's episode 185. 185. Yeah. Welcome. Let's get right into it. No long talking. Let's get to this theme song and where it's at right here. Bam. Let's go. It's the best of bias. You need the earful. You should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? What's up? It's the Best of Bias time for your boy to get live. You know what I'm saying? Drop a little flavor in your ear. Update y'all on the last couple of weeks of pop culture topics, from sports, the theme song, from what some to Unite. I should know my own theme song, but you know what I'm bringing. If you're new, we bring all the bias. We just bring it to the table. Whatever you want to talk about is probably going to get talked about on this podcast. If it's popping in pop culture, we're probably going to talk about it from any aspect. We don't kind of just sit in one niche of podcasts. We kind of talk about it all, and we're happy to bring it all because the people that I mess with and me personally, we talk about it all. We're interested in it all. We don't fit in one box. We fit in all the boxes. We check off a bunch of different boxes. You know what I'm saying? So, rather than be boxed in, we bring all the bias to the table. And whether you have a bias one way or another way, we gonna bring that. Hey, chill out. My bad. I knew that was gonna happen with these dogs chilling here. Come sit down. Hey, come sit down. Sorry about that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We got, of course, college football and stuff. We got NFL. We got fantasy. We got congratulations to the Rangers. Beat the Diamondbacks 4-1. Corey Seager, 2-time MVP, won on both sides, NL and AL. I'm just gonna get that just in case I missed it because a lot of stuff to talk about, and what I'm saying, it wasn't the Braves who won, and I'm not gonna really go into the series. I didn't really follow the World Series too much. I know it sounds bad, but there's a lot of sports going on. It's sports equinox, but just in case I don't get to it, Hey, shout out to the Rangers. Congratulations to you guys. Another one of those franchises who hasn't seen prosperity in a long time. Congratulations to y'all. It feels good. You know what I'm saying? It feels good. You know what I'm saying? So when we get to basketball, kind of talk about a little bit how I felt about some of the stuff I got going on too, but with the NBA. But let's get right into it. Playoff rankings dropped for the for college football. I want to talk to y'all a little bit about that, see how y'all feel about that so far. The top couple are kind of the usual suspects right now, the guys that kind of been running shit kind of all year. Interesting that Georgia's not number one, just off of GP, just from being back-to-back champions and they're undefeated. So people would think they'll just kind of be number one undisputedly. But since their schedule is kind of soft, people took that, and the committee took that into consideration. Number one is Ohio State. Number two is Georgia. Number three is Michigan. Number four is Florida State. These are all the unbeaten teams. And then you get to the fifth unbeaten team, which is Washington at number five. Then you got us, the big O, you know what I'm saying, Oregon. At number 6, 7 Texas, 8 Alabama. So it's some big schools, big names in there. So it's a lot of rumblings with the first week of the college football playoff and the revealing of the standings, you know what I mean? So this week is going to be really important to a lot of teams. I think Alabama plays LSU, Washington plays UCLA or USC. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of big games still to come, championship games still to come. So it's fluid. Like Stephen A likes to say, the standings are fluid. Still a lot to go, still a couple of rankings still to be dropped. So the initial rankings are pretty cool to me. Georgia, I still feel like needs to be tested. I think they played, I don't know if they played Alabama already. I forgot who Alabama actually lost to this season. But yeah, I think it's going to get tough for Georgia. They haven't really played anybody as of now. The whole scandal going on in Michigan right now with John Harbaugh. People are trying to take that standing away from him. I don't know really what's going to happen with them realistically. I don't know if all this media attention, this negative media attention is going to get the team down and distract them from their ultimate goal and kind of, eventually have them lose to Ohio State in a championship game, which wouldn't really matter that much because they still are kind of high up there in the rankings as far as being a one-loss team. But we'll see if Coach Harbaugh can make it through. I still think he's just going to boogie out to the NFL and just call it a day. And yeah, and just call it a day. But anyways, Washington being number 6 right ahead of or number 5 right ahead of us, I don't mind because that UCLA game versus Washington is going to be really interesting. I think Caleb is going to have something to prove. If he loses this game, I feel like he probably should sit out the rest of the season. The risk of getting injured or anything like that is going to be kind of high. And he does want to be that number one overall pick and get that money. He needs to kind of chill because, yeah, that defense has been looking real bad for USC. Washington has a really good offense, but their defense has been kind of bad as well against Stanford and ASU. So I know Caleb Williams could definitely get them going. Who got a squeaky toy? Hold on, my bad, y'all. We're not doing that. We're definitely not doing that right now. Chill out. Man, podding with these dogs, my bad. I should have put them out the room or something, but the fam's not here to watch them right now. And then this light right here got me sweating. Let me hold on. Got a lot of changes to go right now. My bad, y'all. Do you see me glistening? This thing is beaming. I don't know if I need that bad. Is that bad? Yeah, because that light is crazy. But anyways, yeah, I think the first rankings is pretty good. Texas beating Alabama. That's who beat Alabama. Texas beat Alabama. And they've been holding their own ever since, you know what I'm saying, sticking around, beating every team they're supposed to beat after that. Texas as well, been getting kind of close with teams in their division. But still they're sitting pretty. They still have the value of them beating Alabama sitting there. So the committee will definitely take that into consideration. Oregon, me personally, I can speak to that. I think we just need to hold our own. We lost to Washington by 3 points. We missed a field goal that would have sent it into overtime. And who knows what happened after that. Washington was looking great up until Oregon game. They kind of got exposed, and every game after that, they've kind of been challenged. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like they can be had if we see them again in the Pac-12 championship. That will solidify that we are better than them and deservedly so getting to that top 4. But if they do lose to USC, that'll be something to see though, because we do got USC the next week in Eugene. So if they beat Washington and we beat USC, does that mean we jump above Washington, or that still prompt us both to being in the Pac-12 championship, or does USC get to the Pac-12 championship? But I don't know. Oregon, how they beat Utah last week, beating them like 36-6 or something like that. Yeah, I think they, put on a show, because Utah was a ranked team at the time. I think they were ranked number 14. Oregon was ranked number 8 before putting on that showing, and Utah's giving everybody in the Pac-12 a running. So for us to go to their house and kind of do what we did against them was something to show. And the committee looked at that and it was like, yeah, they may not be undefeated and be able to be number 5, but they're the top one-loss team. And I respect that from them. This week, Oregon plays Cal. I think we'll be able to get right. I know we shouldn't look past any teams, and Cal's played spoiler, beating us, unexpectedly, maybe once in the last maybe 5 years or something like that. So I wouldn't look past any team, but I just want to thoroughly beat them, and hopefully Washington and USC comes down to the wire. If USC gets a win, that'd be kind of cool too, because I think we'll jump Washington and be number 5 and just wait for one of those undefeated teams to hopefully lose. And maybe we can jump in there and we'll still play Washington regardless and still see who deservedly needs to be in that playoff. But I'm excited to see what comes. Yeah, that USC Washington game is going to be the game this Saturday. I'm excited to see that one. But CU, I know we talked about CU. You have a weekly CU segment. They played UCLA last week, but this game made headlines for the wrong reasons. Again, CU still has a problem on the field. They started off really hot, and just kind of lately, their lines on both sides have kind of been exposed as far as offensive line, of course. So Sador Sanders has been sacked like 49 to 50 times this season. Just even to the worst competition in the Pac-12, the line looks like Swiss cheese, and they're getting Sador killed. He's not really being able to, show the talents that everybody saw it from the beginning, and they kind of hear it from word of mouth. He's training with Tom Brady, this, and that. But, we want to see it on the field and be able, him and Caleb actually be able to exploit those talents that they do have and just put on a show for people. But it just kind of sucks that, we're just kind of wasting the talent, wasting a whole year on both of those teams just for the offensive lines and the complete teams not being there and just having a bad showing of the year. I know Coach Prime will be good and the recruiting will get better over the next couple of years. I know they already got a quarterback that's coming in behind Sador that's supposed to be cool, a 4-star recruit. But again, even though they lost to UCLA, the score was 28-16. The bigger story was while they were playing the game, somebody got into their locker room and stole all the players' stuff, like out of their bags, their jewelry, their valuables. And it was just it was a weird sentiment because this happened to him before, Coach Prime before at Jackson State. People got into his locker room during the game and stole some stuff from his office and stuff like that. And now it happened at UCLA, where it should never be able to happen because there should be security there, cameras there. No way they should get, especially if it's a high profile team that's, everybody is kind of, you would think somebody would try to rob somebody that's high profile, has high, so a bunch of celebrities and stuff, celebrity son, celebrity coach. These players are getting NIL money, so people can think there's money in the locker room, but still, like UCLA at the Rose Bowl, there's no way that kind of stuff should be happening or people should be getting their stuff stolen in the locker room. Though they might not get their stuff back, I know they will be compensated pretty well. Coach Sanders is like, I know the Rose Bowl got a whole bunch of money. So, if we don't get our stuff back, that the Rose Bowl's going to have to cough up some money to my players and us for getting our stuff stolen, because that's definitely unacceptable. That's unacceptable, yo. If any, that's very unacceptable. Did UCLA stuff get robbed? Somebody get in that locker room? You know what I'm saying? How do people get in the guest locker room? How do people get past security without, it looks like an inside job to me. And I've heard on some people that are talking on TV too, they should look into the people on their own staff too, because maybe that they're giving inside information or helping people to get inside, because again, it happened at Jackson State and it happened other places for him too. So maybe he has to look at his company and maybe somebody inside giving, tipping people off and just letting people know what's going on, Watch who you keep around you. Definitely. That's definitely one of the biggest life lessons, and one of the biggest life lessons I've learned. And it's definitely a life lesson that people of any kind of celebrity or any kind of notoriety should know, because those people that are right there next to you, going the way up, that are not actually the person providing the talent, could be the first person that takes you down. You know what I'm saying? Watch yourselves, y'all. Let's move out of college. Again, let me just talk a little bit about the Utah game. Just throw some stats out there 'cause I like to give my boys some credit. Bo Nix, 24 for 31, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Bucky, 119 total yards, rushing and receiving, 1 touchdown rushing. Jordan James had a rushing touchdown. I think he got like 78, 79 rushing yards. Troy Franklin, 99 yards and a touchdown. I think Tez had a couple. I think he had about like 50 something, 57 yards. He had a touchdown as well. Trayshawn Holder had a touchdown. We scored a lot of points. Offense is clicking. One of the best offenses in the country. We should need to keep rolling, and that defense keep coming together, keep being able to play these high caliber receivers. The Washington receivers kind of did us a little dirty. So just be able to cover without committing penalties. Those trenches that we got, defensive line, we just got a whole bunch of recruits, 2 5-star recruits coming in and solidify that line as well. This year we got big transfers and big freshmen that are coming in there holding down the line and really getting sacks and getting to the quarterback and making our defense big and nasty. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Nastier than any team that we've actually had at Oregon. So this is a good year, if any, to try to make a run. But we're building something. Thank you, Coach Lanning. Moving on to NFL Week 8, the Thursday night football game was the Buccaneers and the Bills. This game was a terrible showing for my Buccaneers again. I don't know what's going on with us or what's happening, man. It's just looking bad. Baker Mayfield started off great, 3-0, and then after we hit I think we lost to the Eagles before our bye, and then we lost 2 games after that, so making 3 in a row. Our offense is just looking anemic. It's just weird for me to understand how we're not able to run the ball 3 years now that you can't even get like 2-3 yards out of a run. I see every other team do it with rookie running backs, no-name running backs, and no-name linemen. We got some people, at least I know, we have a Pro Bowl tackle from moving from right tackle to left tackle that's doing great. We have one of the best pass blocking offensive lines in the NFL, but we can't run the ball 2 or 3 yards carry. Like, it's frustrating, and it showed. Every time we get the ball, our drives are stalled out because we try to run the ball every first down up the middle, lose some yards, and second yards incomplete pass. We get a 3rd and long. They just get off the field. A ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage by a lineman that Baker doesn't see. Baker makes a wrong play on 3rd down, doesn't get the 3rd down. We punt the ball to the opposite team, and then Josh Allen just able to pick us apart with their receivers. For some reason, our corners like to play 10 yards off the ball no matter what, giving up under plays and first down for the first down, try to play bend, don't break. But then they give up a play. One mistake gives a play into the end zone, in the red zone for a touchdown. And if we don't, combat that with points on offense, and we usually do get chunk plays, get down the field, and just can't score in the red zone either. So it's always field goals and stuff like that. We're plagued by penalties, and we have a first-time offensive coordinator. It's a bunch of excuses and a bunch of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that when we first got to the season. We were not blowing people out, but winning the game. And Mike Evans looked like somebody who definitely needed to be paid and somebody that's definitely a Hall of Famer in the making. He's definitely all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's just our offense slowed down so much from what it was the first couple of weeks that it's just crazy. There's no answer for it. And the way that we didn't make any trades on during the trade deadline just made me think personally that we're just going to go with the team we have. We'll have no playoff aspirations because all the teams that did have playoff aspirations did make trades that next week. I'll get into the trades a little bit later, but man, our safety, Neal, Antoine Winfield is one of the best safeties in the league. But I don't know where this dude Neal came from. He came from Seattle. I guess he was highly rated by PFF when he was there, but he came to our team and played like he don't know how to play safety, giving up big plays. He gave up that catch to Kyle Pitts to have the Falcons beat us by a field goal. It's just so frustrating to watch when these bad teams that are actually in the NFL are actually winning games, and people are talking about like they have hope, but we come out here and lay eggs against teams that we should beat. And then the teams that are better than us that we should be put up a good showing against, we're laying eggs in those games too and look crazy on national television. But I digress. Anyways, the Bills were able to win the Thursday night football game. They're able to win 24-18. The Bills, again, driving down the field, were able to score at will. We made some plays towards the end of the game, and we were a Hail Mary away from tying the game in which Chris Godwin could have grabbed the ball. But it was a bunch of ruckus. He didn't look up. The ball landed right in front of him. We lost the game. And then we waited. It was a mini bye, so you haven't seen any. We didn't see the Buccaneers play last Sunday, so we're waiting to see what's good with them this Sunday. But they lost, and they're 3-4 now. And the Bills get a win after losing to somebody who was hella sorry last week, but I forgot. But of course, I got that one wrong. Starting off my predictions from last week, I apologize, guys. I thought the Buccaneers would have a better showing than that. But the Sunday games, the Jags played the Steelers. This game was hella rainy and kind of weird. Um, the Steelers were, well, they lost to the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals, the Jaguars. The Jaguars able to win. ETN was able to rush the ball in a rainy game again. Little screen passes, and Evan Ingram were able to do some work, some long passes to Ridley, but it was rainy out there, and Lawrence did have that bad knee from a couple of weeks ago, but he made it work. Was able to beat Kenny Pickett and the Steelers 20-10. I was right about that game. The Eagles, this game was a lot closer than I expected it to be. The Eagles were struggling at first against the Commanders. Sam Howell and company were driving down the field and scoring a bunch of points. But in the end, A.J. Brown was pretty much unstoppable like he always was or always is. And it was able to beat the Commanders. Jalen Hurts and company were able to win 38-31. I was right about that game. Thank you. The Cowboys came out there and demolished the Rams. I did not expect it to be that way, but the Cowboys went out there and handled business. The Rams had no chance. That defense just scored at every level: special teams, defense, offense. CeeDee Lamb had a game. And they hurt. They hurt Matthew Stafford, so they do have a backup quarterback starting this week for the Rams, but. Yeah, man, I feel y'all, Rams, but we won a Super Bowl just like y'all. Y'all won a year after us, but we're just both down bad and kind of paying for that the whole theory of kind of like stacking our team with players that have high salaries and being over the cap and not really being able to make any moves. Just kind of have to subtract people and lose people that were kind of the basis of our championship teams, and now we down bad. But sorry, Rams. They did get whooped, and I did pick that team. I think I did pick the Cowboys to win that game. I hope I didn't pick an upset. Who knows though? Vikings versus the Packers. Vikings won 24-10. Um, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Falcons, they lost to the Titans, which I really enjoyed, 28-23. I did enjoy that because they brought them down to kind of our level as far as the division goes with records and stuff. But the Saints won, which makes it that much more terrible, and the Panthers won, which was kind of terrible as well. Of course, they win when the Bucks lose, but we'll get into that in a minute. Patriots versus, oh yeah, by the way, I can't pass the Titans game without saying welcome to the NFL. Will Levis, 4 touchdown passes. I believe he had 3 to DeAndre Hopkins, excuse me, my bad, brother. But yeah, it was a coming out game for him, but he did play this Thursday night and he wasn't as successful. I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, good job, Titans, handling business at home against the Falcons. Patriots lost to the Dolphins. I didn't get the score, but I knew it was a blowout. I don't know why I didn't put the Dolphins score down there, but I know they did beat the Patriots. The Patriots are just down bad right now. I don't know if they traded anybody at the trade deadline. A lot of teams that are giving up people are giving telltale signs that they are giving up on the season. Mac Jones is not doing great at all. Josh McDaniels did get fired from the Raiders, so maybe, Bill Belichick will go and pick him back up and get that offense clicking again with him, and Mac Jones and him can just vibe. But I don't know, man. They're still in play for a quarter. There's a lot of quarterbacks coming out. Maybe you'll see Michael Penix or Bo Nix, just somebody late in the draft, kind of like late first round. Nah, excuse me. I mean, it don't even have to be late first round because they'll have a pick that's good enough to be pretty much marginal first. So, yeah, I think and they extended Bill Belichick, so he ain't going nowhere. But I think it might be curtain calls for Mac Jones after this season. But they did get smacked up by a divisional opponent, the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are back on track. I think they're like 7-2 now. The Saints did beat the Colts. I will say the Saints did look pretty good. Their weapons on offense are just they have weapons everywhere. Makes them kind of dangerous. They can make up for a lot of Derek Carr's flaws and a lot of stuff that's kind of going on with the team internally. They're able to overcome it with some explosive offensive weapons. To name a few: Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, what's that? Shaheed? I don't know what his name is, but the number 22 speedster that's always catching deep bombs. They still got Michael Thomas. They still got Chris Olave. They got a lot of pieces. Alvin Kamara, I said that already. You have a couple of running backs, Jamal Williams. They have Kentrell Miller. There's a lot of people they have on the offense that are able to help them, make up for all the flaws. If Derek Carr turns it over and another team can't score, they have a really good defense as well. So if they can stop a team from scoring and they get the ball back, one play can just bust them for, a couple of points, or they can just dink and dunk it down the field with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara on some dunk screens or dump off passes. So they have many ways to get it done. I'm sad to see it. I really wanted them to lose, and they play the Bears next, so they may get a little jump on the division, but we already beat them 26-9 or 26-3 or something like that. So we do have a game up on them if it comes down to tiebreakers, but we will see them again, and they did win, so I'll stop talking about them. That's the most I've ever talked about them, and it's the most I probably will ever talk about them. Panthers beat the Texans 15-13. Yeah, Bryce Young and he beat his old homie CJ Stroud. I'm hoping we can if the Panthers can beat them, I'm hoping the Buccaneers better beat them. I do not want to be embarrassed again this Sunday. Come on, Buccaneers. I don't know how I made that about the Buccaneers, but I did. Jets beat the Giants 13-10. Oh yeah, sorry. I did predict the Titans would beat the Falcons. I did predict the Dolphins would beat the Patriots. I didn't predict the Saints would beat the Colts. Ugh, even though I should have known. And I didn't predict the Panthers would beat the Texans, and I didn't predict the Jets would beat the Giants. Man, the Jets beat the Giants 13-10. The Chargers took care of business and beat the Bears 30-13. That's what I like to see from Justin Herbert. He had a great night. And even though, the Bears didn't really have their starting quarterback or their starting running back, to be honest, they were able to be, the Chargers should win this game. The Chargers aren't really prone to victory. So for them to actually get this victory and win it subtly was a good showing and bought Brandon Staley another week. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how long he's going to be there. Justin Herbert needs a new quarterback, a new coach and a new offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore just got there and he's actually doing his thing. But I think the head coach and his stubbornness on defense and his risk it no biscuit style offense on riskiness on offense and fourth downs and stuff is getting them messed over. Egos, man. It's what the head coaching is about sometimes. But yes, I did predict the Chargers to win that game. The Ravens beat the Cardinals 31-24. Lamar Jackson's really getting it rolling. They're winning that division over there in the AFC. I want to say North it is. But yeah, beating the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray's been taking off the pup. He's been practicing. I don't know if he's going to play this week, but they said they're going to start the rookie tune. But I think next week Kyler might see the field. So we'll see what happens with Cardinals. But this week they did lose to the Ravens 31-24. The Chiefs surprisingly lost to the Broncos 24-9. I thought Patrick Mahomes was going to have a flu game. He was supposedly sick, but he had a terrible game, and the Broncos were able to get a win. They're moving the ball up and down the field on that Chiefs defense. And offensively, Mahomes was getting sacked. He was turning the ball over, and he really couldn't connect with nobody. So the offense on the Chiefs is still looking pretty anemic. They don't really look Super Bowl caliber right now, but they still somehow, in some way, end up getting wins. But this one, they weren't able to get that win. And I definitely didn't predict that happening. The Bengals beat the 49ers. I thought the 49ers would bounce back and get this win, but Brock Purdy was throwing a couple of, Brock Purdy didn't have the worst game, but he did turn the ball over a couple of times, 2 interceptions and a fumble. But they did have some key injuries, and the Cincinnati Bengals are getting healthy at the right time. So I don't hold it against the 49ers as far as like, oh, they're not Super Bowl contenders or Brock Purdy's no good. It's just, shit happens, man. I know personally that your team gets injured. If you don't have your left tackle, one of your top receivers, your running back is going through injuries, and you still count on him to try to be the bell cow. And you have a young quarterback that really hasn't gone through the adversity. He's just been kind of winning all the time, and we're seeing now how he's going to deal with that adversity. Is he going to put his head down? Is he going to pout? Is he going to go back into his shell, or is he going to, take it as something that he's going to learn from and just grow and try to come out here and just complete that ultimate goal of winning a championship, because they're still in the right spot. They just need to play a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying? They'll get there. They'll get there. I mean, it's been a rough couple of weeks, and their schedule does get pretty hard. But I think in the end, when the team gets healthy, they'll be a force to be reckoned with no matter what seed they have in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Seahawks versus the Browns. Seahawks were able to get their win, get back on track. Who's a surprising leader of the NFC West? The Seahawks out there handling business. Out there handling business. That defense handling business. Good on them. I did not predict that to happen. I thought the Browns would actually win that game. And then Lions and Raiders. Lions were able to handle the business and come back after getting whooped the week before. I like to see it. I like to see what they did on the field. Jahmyr Gibbs actually got the ball, was actually to show what he's able to do. He's actually showed what he was able to do, 150-something overall yards, had a touchdown, a long run. Laporta was able to get a touchdown. Stafford was able to get on the right page, and that defense was able to do do what they do, have been doing the whole season, and get Jimmy Garoppolo in positions to where he was making mistakes, and he ended up getting benched, and the coach got fired after the game. So I guess the Lions did something right. But yeah, how many did I get right last week for my predictions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 right out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 games. 9 out of 14 isn't bad unless you put in a parlay with all me trying to mirror everything that I said there. Hopefully you picked the right ones and took my advice, which I'm going to do for week 9 right here as well, and just kind of, played money lightly or took my advice lightly to win some money. If you did, don't be afraid to hit my Cash App. But if you didn't, I feel it. I feel it. Just be safe and just use my knowledge to go take it to your circles and be like, I know this is what I know. And I got this advice from this podcast, which is one of the best podcasts I ever heard, especially informationally about football. You feel me? I'm willing to take that credit. It's the BOBP, the Best of Bias Podcast. Hey, get you some merch, by the way. You see this? I'm trying to wear the shirt. You can't really see the back, but you know what I'm saying? The new hats. I'm trying to sport the new hats for you. Got the lightning bolt on there with Growly. Get you one. Oh, my bad. Get you one now. I'll talk more about that when we get to the end. I got to hurry up because the Nuggets, the tournament game starts real soon. And I'm still in the middle. I got to get through this stuff. Week 9 preview. This is where I kind of give who I think is going to win for next week. I give their spreads, but my predictions aren't really off the spreads. It's just in my heart who I think is going to win. So, like I said, you can tail it. You cannot put in a parlay if you want to. And if you win here, shoot me some money. But if you lose, hey, I'm telling you, bet responsibly. Don't take it as gospel. It's just what I think, which is mostly right, obviously. By the way, I always be winning and getting these right. But first game I'm gonna talk about. Oh, we just saw this already Thursday. This game is over because I'm recording this on Friday. So Pittsburgh versus Tennessee. Pittsburgh was able to get the win. Yeah. Will Levis kind of turned back into a pumpkin though. He had about 200 something yards. He had an interception, got sacked a bunch of times. The true hero of the game was Derrick Henry. He was able to dump the ball off to Derrick Henry. He was able to run up the middle a lot, get some yards going that way. But Kenny Pickett, man, off the strength of TJ Watt and that Pittsburgh defense, he's able to make enough plays to be able to get these wins. It's ugly, but he gets them. I think they moved to 5-3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think they moved to 5-3. Deontay Johnson came out, got his first touchdown in almost like 2 years or something like that. So that was great to see. But that's what happened on Thursday. So I won't predict that game. But for the Munich game, the game in Germany, we have Miami and Kansas City. Kansas City is favored by 2.5 in Germany. I'm going to pick Miami in this game just based off of what I saw last week in Kansas City. I think that offense still has something to prove. I know they may still score some points and get it loose against that Miami defense. And off of last week's performance, they're going to want to have something to prove and kind of just show that they're actually the belle of the ball when it comes to the AFC. But we'll see what happens. I think Miami is going to get on a roll. They're playing for that number 1 seed, and Tua is kind of trying to prove it, man. Everybody doubted him last year due to those concussions, and it was scary to see. But this year, he's trying to get out there and prove it, and to show that he's actually worthy of the title of one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC, and he's going to try to prove it, man. And I feel it, and I support it. So I got Miami in that game out there in Munich. Then we have Minnesota at Atlanta. Atlanta favored by 4.5. I'm definitely gonna go for Minnesota because we need Atlanta to lose the most games as possible. Hopefully Minnesota can come out there and do something. Josh Dobbs isn't gonna play this week, even though he just got traded there. They're gonna play their rookie that they got over there on the Vikings. Addison showed out last week. Hopefully Madison can do something. KJ Osborne, I think, is hurt as well. So is Justin Jefferson. I don't know when he's coming off the IR, but I don't think he's practiced yet. So I'm putting a lot of faith in my Minnesota. Atlanta's actually starting Taylor Heineke as well. They benched Desmond Ridder. So I'm going for Minnesota in that game. Seahawks versus Baltimore. I think Baltimore keeps rolling at home, and the Seahawks lose the game, but they have a couple to play with since a lot of the teams in their division lost last week. Cleveland, I got them beating Arizona. Deshaun Watson is supposed to play. They're favored by 7.5. Again, they don't really have a starting quarterback. It's going to be the quarterback's first week over there in Arizona. And I think with that defense over there in Cleveland, they're just going to kind of hold Cleveland in the game enough, even though if Deshaun Watson isn't out there doing what he used to do, not showing that what he used to show, he'll be able to do enough to get it done out there in Cleveland. Then we have the Rams at Green Bay. Again, the Rams are starting to back up quarterback. I think this is a must-win for Jordan Love. They're at home. They're favored by 3. And this opportunity with a whole bunch of hurt people on the Rams, the defense and the team not being what it used to be, I think this is a showing for Green Bay to try to get right and get a win under their belt. I know they kind of gave up, it seems like, with the trading of Rasul Douglas to the Bills, but we'll see what happens. I got Green Bay in this game. Yeah, I think the Rams are just down bad right now. Tampa Bay at Houston. Houston's favored by 2.5. I think it's 3 now. I got the Buccaneers all day just because I feel like this game we lost 3 in a row. The Texans just lost one. They're overachieving right now, and I think this is a get right game for us, man. We are a veteran team that should have our stuff together. The addition of Baker Mayfield shouldn't bring us down to the standard of the Houston Texans, though they are, performing well under D'Amico Ryans. I don't think they're at the level of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet. They lost to the Panthers last week, for crying out loud, and they got a bunch of rookies. So we should be able to handle business. If we're anything or going to try to compete for anything this year, we have to win games like this. So I got the Bucks. Washington Commanders at New England. I want to pick the Commanders in this just because of the competition they've been showing against other teams. And again, New England's down bad and favored by 3.5 at home. But every time I pick the Commanders, I feel like they lose. So I'm gonna flip my pick to New England and hope Mac Jones and them can get it together enough and don't just make it that obvious that they're tanking. I'm gonna switch my pick to Cleveland. I had it written down as Commanders, but I'm switching it. Bears at New Orleans. New Orleans favored by 7.5 at home against the Bears. I'm picking the Bears. I got to. I'm sorry. I know my record and stuff is at stake when I do things like this out of spite for this team, but hey, man, I'm just got to keep it going. I got to stay true to my brand. Chicago over New Orleans. Indianapolis at Carolina. I got Indianapolis. Again, I'm going to stay true to the brand. Indianapolis is actually favored by 3 in Carolina, so I guess it's not too far out of the box for me to go for Indianapolis. So I got Indianapolis in that game. Next game, we have the New York Giants at the Raiders. Raiders just got rid of their coach, their quarterback. The Raiders are favored by 2.5 despite that, though. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Tyrod Taylor is actually still hurt. So either Daniel Jones is coming back or they're starting a third-string quarterback over there, Danny DeVito at the Giants. But I got the Giants. I think Daniel Jones will come back. Saquon Barkley's back. I know they lost Darren Waller with the hamstring. But man, the Giants got to do something, and the Raiders are down bad. So if you can't beat the Raiders, who can you beat? Giants. Come on now. Cowboys at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored by 3. I got Philadelphia in this game. Though yeah, I haven't looked, like Super Bowl Philadelphia the last couple of weeks playing down to the competition, and you saw what Dallas Cowboys did last week to the Rams. I still think the Eagles are the more superior team. Offensive line, defensive line, strong. I don't know if their DBs are going to be able to stop CeeDee Lamb and company quite yet. You know what I mean? I know they got Kevin Byard at safety, but I don't know if their corners are back at full health yet. Offensively, I don't know. Offensively is the strength for the offense is the strength for the Eagles, and defense is the strength for the Cowboys. So it's going to be strength on strength. We're going to see who is able to provide more of a lift, the Eagles offense or the Cowboys defense. But we'll see. I got the Eagles in that one. Cincinnati versus the Bills. I got Cincinnati. They're at home and they're favored by 3. But I think the Bengals again are getting healthy at the right time. The Buffalo Bills have been playing down the competition a lot. And when it comes to competition that they should beat, they've been kind of, the competition has been getting the best of them. So I'm just going to go with my gut and have Cincinnati winning this one. And then lastly, the Chargers at the New York Jets. Monday Night Football. Chargers on Monday night again. Justin Herbert, I think he gets another good game. A good game that's supposed to kind of go in his favor. The Jets defense is really good, yeah, but I think the offense of the Jets is going to put even though the Chargers defense isn't that good at all, but I think they'll maybe be able to make enough plays on Zach Wilson without 3 starting offensive linemen that they can put the offense in good enough positions for them to move the ball and make plays on that Jets defense, even though they're really good. So I got Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and they are favored by 3 in New York. But yeah, just to go over those so y'all can write them down and know how accurate I am in this situation. I got Pittsburgh at home over Tennessee. I got Miami at Kansas City. I got Minnesota at Atlanta. I got Baltimore at home against Seattle. I got Cleveland at home against Arizona. I got Green Bay at home against LA. I got Tampa at Houston. I got the Commanders at switch that one. I got New England at home against the Commanders. I got the Bears in New Orleans against New Orleans. I got the Colts in Carolina against Carolina. I'm picking the Giants in Vegas against the Raiders. I'm picking Philly at home against the Cowboys. I'm going Cincinnati at home against the Buffalo Bills, and I'm going Chargers at New York Jets. So write those down, take a picture. I don't give a mess. You saw I cleaned that up for you, YouTube. But yeah, if you want to, you already know the deal. Well, let's move on. NFL trades. I told y'all that there were some trades going on. Let's talk about those a little bit. The 49ers got Chase Young for a conditional third round pick, which I think is the biggest tool of the trade process. Not really much happened. There's only a few notable ones that I wrote down here. But Chase Young teaming up with his old teammate at Ohio State, Nick Bosa, which will make a a defensive line that already has a whole bunch of players that are there that can be great rotationally. They're really good in college. They're really big draft names. So it's like the 49ers just plucked them all and put them together and was like, let's see what happens. Um, Hargraves, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Clelin Ferrell, Randy Gregory. It's just a whole bunch of players that have talent that may have not been stars in the league, but know they have individual talents. And you can just rotate them all through. Chase Young was supposed to be the next generational player until he blew out his knee and didn't come back for a year and a half. So we're going to see what happens. I think the 49ers, he'll be in good hands, and teams are just not going to know what to do with that. Secondly, Leonard Williams went to Seahawks, added another great defensive lineman to another good defense out there. Montez Sweat went to the Bears. This one I really didn't understand because the Bears aren't really going nowhere, but maybe it's an asset when they're rebuilding next year that they won't have to go out there and draft since they just got Sweat and won't have to, draft a young edge rusher that's good like Montez Sweat, and they can pay him probably as well. Josh Dobbs went to the Vikings. I don't know if I mentioned it when I was talking about the Vikings, but what's his name? Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, so he's out for the season. Stepping up is going to have to be Dobbs, but this week they are starting a rookie and letting Dobbs get acclimated with the playbook. He's pretty smart again. He graduated as a rocket scientist. Pretty much. So he picks up playbooks pretty fast, probably. That's why he's been able to be on so many teams and be successful as a backup. But he's on the Vikings now. And of course, I talked about Kevin Byard. He got traded a little earlier than the deadline for the Eagles. Back there playing safety from the Titans to the Eagles. We thought that was going to lead to a chain of events of Derrick Henry and D-Hop getting traded as well, but they held on to their other players, and all they really traded was Kevin Byard. But that's it for NFL trades. Let's move on to the NBA. Sorry, I'm going to go a little quicker because it's getting closer and closer to the in-tournament time, and I can't miss the Nuggets kickoff. You feel me? NBA stuff, man. Let's talk about the Nuggets right now. We had a good start, man. We're 4-1 right now. First loss was to Minnesota. Minnesota is one of those teams out there that's going to give us our hardest competition. I'm not going to lie. It's just their size, man. They run two centers basically, and a defender that's kind of big and can put his hands on Jamal Murray, which kind of mucks the game up, which makes Aaron Gordon have to try to guard Karl-Anthony Towns while Jokic guards Rudy Gobert. And when we're on offense, Jokic will have the ball. Whoever's guarding Jokic will just be guarding them, and then Rudy Gobert will play off ball and just be the roamer to kind of try to clean up and help if Jokic gets down low, which is kind of annoying. But we saw how it turned out. And they have, of course, Anthony Edwards to be the additional scorer to put up points if Cat doesn't score or he's in foul trouble or whatever. So that's one of those teams that kind of give us trouble. But everybody else that we played so far, we were able to put a good team effort together. Our bench is playing kind of crazy, just knowing we lost Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and some of our stalwarts on our second unit for people to step up like Christian Brown and Peyton Watson being a young guy, Reggie Jackson. And some of our Zeke Naji, of course, been on the team a couple of years as a backup center, hasn't really gotten a lot of burn. But it's times like this and preparedness like this that helped us get to the record we have right now, being 4-1 going into this play-in tournament. Our second unit has looked good defensively. We kind of have to try to find out where the points are going to come from sometimes, kind of try to stagger Jamal Murray and Jokic, so have one of them in the second unit kind of orchestrating stuff if Reggie Jackson can't get it going, or just in case if one of the two or maybe even both are in foul trouble, somebody's going to have to run that second unit, and we're trying to figure that out still. MPJ is kind of still, he's off and on. We're still waiting for that consistent scoring output for him. He's been rebounding a lot in the early season, which is good for us. Rebounds is really important if you're not going to score, crash the boards and get his possessions and, stop possessions as well. So he's doing well in that aspect. Aaron Gordon's playing his role even more as he did in the playoffs, just kind of knowing his game, taking less of the silly shots and kind of just using his body and using his size mismatch against a lot of teams to get his points that way and not force anything, playing defense still against the team's best player and doing what he has to do hustle-wise to try to get his stuff done And KCP as well, catch and shoot, making buckets when he needs to, playing defense, getting the block, a couple blocks, a couple of steals a game, doing what he needs to do to help the team out as well. So we're looking good. We're going to this play-in tournament 4-1 against the we're playing against the Dallas Mavericks now, and the Dallas Mavericks are pretty good. They're undefeated. They're only undefeated team so far. They're sitting at 4-0. Haven't played as many games as us yet, but this is their time. Luka has been, of course, doing his thing every season, and then Kyrie got added last year. Nobody really believes in Dallas. Nobody thinks what they put together can actually work. But the season to show it. Everybody stays healthy. They implemented where you have to play at least 60 games to be eligible for any awards and stuff. We're seeing a lot of people playing harder, a lot more players playing back-to-backs. We saw the Clippers and the Lakers play just a couple of nights ago, and they're going hard. We said, LeBron had 35, 12, and 7 at 38, out there balling. Kawhi Leonard playing about having like 30 points after playing a back-to-back 75 minutes in 2 games. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's good to see this year that the people are actually out there playing and taking it serious. Lakers, seeing them this year as well. The new formed Lakers, a lot of offseason acquisitions. It's going to take them a lot of time to gel, but they played their first game against us, and I wouldn't say they didn't do too well, but they didn't win the game. And they kind of took a stance from them then on that they're going to play their game and get LeBron a set amount of minutes to run, to prevent the risk of him probably getting injured midseason or towards the end of the season, to prevent them from winning another ring. But they've needed him a lot. You know what I mean? A lot of the season, they've been pushing him over that 20-minute threshold. The second game, he was already over that. After the first game, they're utilizing him, but sitting him a lot, trying to implement this time restriction for him. But yeah, the Lakers have needed him. It's kind of crazy to see him at 38 still be the best player on his team and carrying the team that way. Steph and KD as well. I was listening to a couple of talking heads talk, and it's crazy to see, though LeBron is 38 and doing what he's doing at 38, it's like Steph Curry and KD and a lot of these other players are like at 35, 34, still balling and putting up big points and stuff like that. Kobe's last great season in the playoffs, they said, was about the age 33. Michael Jordan was on the Wizards and kind of tapping out at 35, 36. So to see them performing at this level, it's kind of impressive. More so, not only LeBron, but everybody else as well. But LeBron is doing crazy stuff. If you watched that game the other night, he put the team on his back, still knocking shots down, getting to the rim. Yeah. Winning the overtime, Chris Paul and Norman Powell fouled out in overtime, but LeBron was able to get to his spots and do his thing. But it was really good to see. It was really good to see them beat the Clippers. I think this first time in 11 games that they actually beat the Clippers. So that was really important to get that monkey off their back. And they took a big jump in the standings too. I think they're like 9th at one point. Of course, when it's early, all the standings are really close. But getting that separation when the Clippers only lost 1 game, the standings really jumped. It jumped the Lakers to 5th and the Clippers like to 9th. So it's crazy. The playoffs started crazy so far. Play-in tournaments going on right now. The Bucks are playing the New York Knicks for the first game. I think the games are every Friday and Tuesday. And then like in December sometime is when the playoffs of the tournament starts and everybody goes to Vegas for that single elimination. So now everybody's just running through the groups and around Robin style trying to collect them points. I think that's how it goes, and collect their record to try to make it to the playoff in-season tournament playoff in Vegas. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I'm liking it so far. And a couple more things here in the NBA. Wemby going off. They played the Suns 2 games in a row. I think once in Phoenix and once in San Antonio. But Wemby showing that he's the man, man. First game brought him back, the Spurs back to beat the Suns. He had about 18 points, 7 rebounds or something like that. I was like, yes, this is what his scoring, his box score is going to be. He's been getting this the last couple of weeks, 18, 16 points, about 7, 8 rebounds, couple of blocks. But this last game that he had, he showed, I watched highlights of it. I wasn't watching the game, that game specifically, but the highlights of it, this man had 38, 10, and 2, 38 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal. And this was his game. Me personally, I thought he was going to get brought along slow. Pop was going to restrict his minutes. He wasn't going to let him in the game. It's like, even if the games were close, they're going to be really cautious with Wembanyama and bring him in slow, despite the criticism. But nope, this game they let him play. He had 13 more shots, had 26 shots, 13 more than the next man on his team. They made an effort to get him the ball. He was making all his shots, 3 3-pointers, really efficient, only had 5 free throws and 38 points. So it's just wild to see. So, man, he might be the next thing. Like everybody was saying, people were doubting it at the beginning, saying Scoot Henderson might be better, Chet might be better, but we're seeing it live now. The moves that he's making, the fluidness of his game, his jump shots, how he can get to the rim, how he can lob him the ball effortlessly, and he can score easily like that. It's just wild. So Wembanyama's on the come up. Don't doubt him. If you haven't seen a game, go watch a game because that shit is wild to see in person. I mean, not in person, but on TV anyway. So I'm sure they're gonna get him on TV every week. So you'll probably have a chance to see him. But yeah, NBA is in full motion, and also Skims is official partner of the NBA. I haven't seen any male Skims yet. I don't know what's going on with that. It's wild. I don't know what they're really gonna get out there and do. I don't know how they're gonna feel. I might change my whole tone when I get some on my body. I might give me some and see how some Skim underwear is feeling, some Skims for the men. It may be some smooth stuff. You know, Skims is a big company. They may got the finest of textures out there. You know, some everybody likes those Ethica draws. What if they hella softer than them Ethica draws? Or them tank tops? Everybody likes to work out tank tops. What if those things are soft as cotton? I wouldn't say soft as cotton because we wear cotton already, but what's something soft? Soft is I don't know, something soft. Insert soft thing here. Yeah. But yeah, I'm all about it, man. Shoot. NFL got Taylor Swift and NBA got Kim Kardashian. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about growth. I'm all about marketing. You know what I'm saying? Throw me a little cash. I'll promote some meal Skims. What's up, Kim? What's up? Best of Bias, need to holler at you. But yeah, again, let me talk about the MLB. Congratulations to the Rangers, MLB champions this year. It was a wild season, of course, full of unexpecteds, because of course I didn't expect the season to end like that. I expected the Braves to win the championship, to be 100% honest with your boy, but you know, things happen, and it's not. Seasons don't always go the way you want them to. But congratulations to the Rangers. Sean, you should have bet on them. I told y'all. I told you. No, just playing. But yeah, the Rangers. I'm happy it wasn't one of the. You know, if it wasn't the Braves, I'm happy it wasn't one of the other teams that win all the time. No Boston, no LA, no San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? Somebody different. You know what I'm saying? If it's not us, give it to somebody that ain't stacking. You know what I'm saying? That's the hater in me. But let's get to this fantasy football real quick. Fantasy football. This is week 9 in the NFL, so I guess this is week 9 for us too. I'm just gonna go over the week 8 scores real quick and let us know the standings like I like to do. Boys, I need y'all on the pod, man. I know y'all scared because a lot of the people that be winning and stuff is down there in the dumps right now, and the guys that are up in the top. I mean, Kev, y'all seen Kev on the pod before? He probably be on the like to talk his mess if he gets number 1 and if I lose this week. Derek's scared of the pod. I know he's scared, but some of these guys on here, John, you know, Johnny Mac 650 has been on here. He's in the top 5, top 6 make the playoffs. Y'all know Best of Bias Invitational 2023. I tell y'all all the time, strive for the top 6 because top 6 make the playoffs. Top 2 teams get their buys, and you want that $900. I'm telling you, we got a lot of prize money up for this year and a belt, and you don't want that last place trophy. And you're lucky this year we didn't come up with something for last place because people are too okay with last place right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't see people trying hard enough to get out of last place. It's kind of hurting my soul. It's like, don't be okay with it. At least fight back. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, scores from last week. I beat Sean's championship team 183-110. My receiver lineup is just killer right now. I have Tyreek Hill, which is probably the number 1 receiver in fantasy. I have the number 2 receiver in fantasy, like with AJ Brown. And I have the person who started off at the number 1 receiver as Keenan Allen, but he's like number 5 to 7 now. But having those 3 each week is kind of just helping me solidify my team. And then having my running backs break out and Laporta break out is just the icing on top with Justin Herbert as a quarterback. It's just going crazy. It's helping me stay in first place. Just a running back living paycheck to paycheck. It's good to see you get a win, brother. This might be his 3rd win. I'm telling you, there's still weeks left, 5 weeks left. Make that push, man. 126, he beat Pay Dirt to 110. Nightmare on G Block, lost to K-Swag. K-Swag, it's good to see you get a win too. I know it's been a while. But hey, we getting those victories. Good shit, boy. K-Swag won 126-96. Shenanigans got that win over You're Not the Boss of Me 124-118. Dijon's Dazzling Team got that win over Hot Boys 162-131. Armpit, that's the battle of 2nd and 3rd, lost to Cam's Catering 135-114. There's a lot of shakeups going on. I was able to win and keep my first place. First place through 3rd place has been moving around a whole bunch this season. So guys, good job. Way to stay competitive. If you're not at the top, don't be discouraged. I'm telling you, man, a lot of shit is moving around. A 2 week to 3 week streak, you could be jumping from anywhere in the standings. So don't be discouraged at all. Let me go over the standings of where we at right now. Let's see here. Let me get to the right league. So for the standings for the Best of Bias Invitational 2023. In first place, you got me, Mucho Dinero at 6-2. Second place, you got Camus Catering at 6-2. Third place, you got Derek with Armpit at 5-3. Fourth place, we got Deshaun with Shenanigans at 5-3. At fifth place, we got Dijon at 4-4. Sixth place, we got Hot Boys. That's Johnny Mac 650 at 4-4. Nightmare on G Block, we got him at seventh place at 4-4 with Pay Dirt. Jason coming in at eighth place at 3-5. Sean's championship team is 3-5, coming in at ninth place, followed by K-Swag's team at 3-5. 11th place is You're Not the Boast of Me at 3-5, followed by You're Not a Running Back Living Paycheck to Paycheck at 2-6. Okay, my bad, brother. You only got 2 wins, but hey, each week is a new week to be great. So I hope everybody wins except for the team that's playing me. And I respect the hell out of everybody for staying in it and being such great competitors every year, year in, year out. Get that group chat popping a little bit more, though. Maybe that's my fault for not riling everybody up and getting everybody talking. But there's some talking that need to be had in there. I want to hear some shit talking. I want to hear some encouragement. I want to hear some what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word when you're looking for confidence? I don't hear no confidence. I don't hear nobody talking shit saying, I know I'm going to win. I know I'm about to get this money. When we were doing the draft, I heard all that stuff. But once the season actually played out, everybody's real, real quiet right now. So I'm going to need y'all to up the ante for your boy and just speak up. Speak up. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'll give the winner a hat or a merch item of their choice as well to go with the belt and the money. But if it's me, it's just me giving shit to myself. I don't know. Maybe I'll give a hat to second place as well. To add to they getting their little $100. But yes, let's move on to this pop culture because we are getting closer and closer to this game time. RIP, I want to say a big RIP to Matthew Perry. Another one of our celebrities out here, man. I don't know. If it's not drugs, it's always something people speculating about mental health, man. And I feel sorry for these celebrities too, because they do a great job of entertaining us and giving us the feels that we enjoy. Sometimes we don't really check up on these people. We think since they're rich and famous, they're stronger than the average people, that they're some kind of superhero that we hold on a pedestal. I feel like sometimes we need to check in on these people. I mean, though we can't really speak to them and they're kind of cut off from the regular world, I feel like, I don't know, reach out in a different way. Write a letter, write a DM to the person knowing you're not going to get a response back, but something positive just to make sure this person is still on the right headspace. Because these people, of course, I mean, we've seen it all. People be so depressed from the ups of their career and then just the heights and them wanting that height so bad that they get depressed when they're at status quo or even lower than status quo or not where they were before. I'm not saying he was depressed or committed suicide or anything like that, because they did say that he was drug-free. They did say he was having some mental issues, but I don't want to speculate suicide till more information comes out. But it is sad. It's just they found him drowned in his jacuzzi at his home. Actually, I don't want to say his home because I don't want to give out false information, but they did find him drowned in his jacuzzi. And I just want to say RIP to the families. That's really, really, really sad out there. Though I wasn't the biggest Friends fan, I did watch the whole 9 and the whole 10 yards. That movie was really funny to me. I'm not gonna lie, I did watch that a lot. And just, man, as a human being, and just kind of like the joy that he did give to everybody else, you know what I'm saying? He may not have touched me personally with Friends or his other works, but he touched people, and you know what I'm saying? Not in a bad way, but in a way that, brought joy and happiness to them at a certain time. I know Friends was the shit. I know my friend's mom loves Friends. My friend's mom loves Friends. It's kind of weird, but yeah, she does, and swears by the series. And there's so many seasons, and there's reruns on all the time. So somebody loved the show. There's a big group cult following that Matthew Perry really touched and people love. So despite of anything, I don't know if there's some political stuff that he had that was saying that was kind of rub people the wrong way. That all that stuff, sometimes, it doesn't matter sometimes when tragedy strikes and people lose their lives. Sometimes their political beliefs and stuff like that needs to go out the window, and just RIP that, man. And again, thank you for all your contributions to pop culture and just contributions to joy and happiness to people's lives. You know what I'm saying? LA Comic-Con, I'm excited to say that we're almost there, 1 month away. You can see it from here, perfect. I'm really excited to go this year. There's a bunch of people going, a bunch of actors, a bunch of people kind of getting back into the fray of the stuff. Let me get my dual cameras going on right now. I'm sorry, I don't know why I didn't get that going earlier, but bear with me here, my peoples. So I know you want to hear about this. Let me get right. So, dual cameras real quick. Comic-Con 2023. We out here December 1st through 3rd. Who's rolling? This year is gonna be epic, man. Last year, me and Damo hit the streets out there and we saw what it was all about. And it was a culture shock. It was my first Comic-Con that I've ever been to, my first big con anyway. I've been to a couple of events since then, but this year I'm expecting bigger and better, especially with the strike. The writer's strike ended, and we expect the actors and the SAG-AFTRA and the companies and the big wigs to sign this contract to get that strike over with as well. So it's gonna be a big time, and hopefully all the actors kind of trickle back into these events, so we get to see the pop culture people, a bunch of podcasters I hope are out there, a bunch of panels for these celebrities, and some of the stuff that is happening in pop culture, in the sphere of pop culture anyways, that I like to check out. We got a bunch of people from the cast of a bunch of shows that just dropped. Ahsoka just dropped, so there's some actors from that. One Piece live action, there's some actors from that. Pedro, Napoleon Dynamite, John Hader, and Efren Diaz, I believe his name is. A bunch of pop culture phenomenon. Tom Kenny, who plays SpongeBob and voiced Cat Dog, and a whole bunch of other epic stuff. We have a bunch of the Power Rangers, the Black Ranger, uh, uh, the Blue Rangers, a bunch of people are going to be there. I'm just excited to bring the Best of Bias podcast to a con near you. Find us at the con if you're going to be there. You'll see the new merch. You'll see everything. I'm just really excited to see what it's going to bring this year, man. Yeah, it's going to be exciting times. Last year or this year, I should say, at San Diego Comic-Con, they weren't really able to provide everybody with the Comic-Con feel because the strike kind of, you know, prevented a lot of stuff that Comic-Con's able to bring. Some of the Comic-Con purists are actually happy about that. There's more artists and availability to comic book artists and stuff that actually is the heart of Comic-Con. A lot of stuff that's been added as far as the celebrities and the infatuation with the Funko Pops have kind of saturated these cons. And some of the people that are actually loyalists to the con culture are kind of like, these things are getting in the way. But me personally, I'm excited to go back and just be on the scene again. Me and Damo are trying to make a movie. But we're trying to make it a movie. Last year we went in there and kind of got our feet wet, but the overwhelmingness of it, I feel like just kind of overtook us. But this year we doing something crazy. Stay tuned. But let me get back to these people over here, man. I'm sorry. I had to do a cameras there real quick. You know how I do it, but Comic-Con's coming up, and again, hopefully that contract between SAG-AFTRA and the big companies kind of gets signed, so we can get everybody back in studio, start making these shows, which is going to kind of lead into my cinema corner here. Y'all can see the pops back there, right? You see that Napoleon Dynamite pop back there? It's like right there, Napoleon. I got Pedro, and then if you go up there, right there, you see Sabine. She about to be at the Comic-Con too. I'm about to get Sabine signed by the actor that played Sabine in the live action show. So it's about to be live. But anyways, get back to the cinema corner. With the writers and everything coming back, I'm hoping for a lot of shit to get settled, man. It's just a lot of rumors going around in the MCU that's kind of rubbing me the wrong way, man. I've been bigging up DCU and seeing they're canceling everything, kind of doing their reboot and doing what they have to do. At least they're recognizing the product that they're putting out isn't it. So they're going to try to start over and correct their errors. With James Gunn and everybody, with the DCU being changed from the DCEU. But MCU, man, it's just kind of like a bunch of rumors just coming out, and it's kind of making it seem like they're making changes for the betterment of the MCU. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. It also seems like they're just covering their ass because they made a lot of bold statements when it came to the planning of this phases 5 and 6 and what's supposed to happen and what we're supposed to be pumped up for and what the fans are supposed to expect. But a lot of the stuff, show wise, a lot of the movies have come out and they've been really mediocre. We're expecting the stuff that we saw from the original Avengers and phase 4 and all that stuff, the first couple of phases, but this Phase 5 stuff in the the end of Phase 4 and the leading up to Phase 5 have been really dry. There's been rumors of shows being canceled and pushed back. I know Deadpool was supposed to be the lead-in to Secret Wars, and they're going to reset the MCU, bring back a whole bunch of characters, kill some off in the Secret Wars, bringing in Tobey Maguire as the leader of the Avengers with Wolverine and this and that. It's just like, okay, you're talking about this, but are we really going to get it? It seems as though that with the strike, I guess Deadpool is not able to make rewrites or edits or anything like that, so they're pushing back the release of that movie, which is supposed to set everything up. They put out a listing of shows that were supposed to come out: the Ironhearts of the world, the Echoes of the world, the Agatha Harknesses of the world, like a bunch of shows that we didn't really ask for, and they either pushed it back or made it really short and shoved it forward to try to get it out of the way because they already produced it type of shit, which is kind of weird. I can see both sides of it because some stuff probably needed to be pushed back because it probably didn't need to be made in the first place. But some stuff, it just kind of like seems like chronologically you're just kind of messing stuff up, and you're putting a hold on stuff that needs to happen to get the fans back intrigued in what you got going on. As far as like the Avengers, like we're expected to believe, like right now where we are, the Avengers are going to be led by Falcon, Captain America. We have Shang-Chi, and we have Shuri as the Black Panther. With sprinkled in, we still have Thor around. We still have Doctor Strange around. We still have Captain Marvel and the Marvels from the movie. Sprinkled in with a bunch of young Avengers that we've seen throughout these TV shows. We still have some of the darker characters like Moon Knight and stuff, but I don't really know who's all going to get integrated into the shows and into the actual MCU as far as the phases go. Of course, I want to see Moon Knight, but it just seemed as though his shit was like more of a one-off introduction story. They haven't even finished explaining who he was, so I don't know if they're ready to actually just bring him into the MCU right away. And I'm hearing rumors that they're gonna bring back the original six somehow and try to have them be older characters to usher in the new phases. They're talking about how Jonathan Majors, they don't know if they're gonna continue on with the Kang arc, even though it seems as though his court kind of stuff is kind of cleaning up. They proved, I guess they had some evidence showing that he was innocent of um the physical abuse, and then they had a warrant out arrest for his girlfriend to be arrested for some of the physical stuff that she did to him, but ultimately she didn't get arrested, and they still have to go to court, and they're worried about him being in court through the whole process, so they may move on to another villain and not focus so much on Kang and try to move into the Doctor Doom saga stuff. But still, they haven't really introduced all of the Fantastic Four characters for sure. And they don't even know when they're going to release Fantastic Four. And it's just a whole bunch of rumored stuff, and it's just all jumbled up, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. All the stuff that's rumored to be in Deadpool, all the people, all the stuff, and then we're going to push that back. We're supposed to have an 18-episode Daredevil. They fired all the writers and starting over with that. It's like, and that was supposed to be something that Echo was for. We're supposed to have an Echo lead up into that, but we're still going to get Echo, yet we're not getting the Daredevil at the time we're getting that. It's just getting wild, and at a certain point, we're going to lose our patience. We don't want Echo. We don't want Agatha Harkness. We don't need that stuff. Captain America, the new Captain America, New World Order, or whatever they're calling it now, I am interested to see that. I'm interested to see like some Thunderbolts stuff. You know what I'm saying? Secret Wars, Deadpool, that stuff kind of looks more interesting and more into the Phase 5 type of stuff. I feel like they're just more interested in creating their own spin-off worlds with all these other characters instead of trying to deal exactly with what they're supposed to be dealing with and what they got us intrigued with and what we're supposed to be moving on to. It's like they started with it in Wanda, and they just cut it off. WandaVision, and then they just cut it off. And then they had Loki season 1 that's supposed to lead into stuff. And then they cut that off. We get Loki season 2, which I'm going to talk about in a couple of seconds. Probably going to talk about it now. Episodes 4 and 5, which is supposed to also be a continuation of Phase 5 and let us know what's happening with Kang and He Who Remains. But it's also a slow burn in this one. We're still trying to figure out what we got going on in this episode 6 already. But I have faith, man. I'm not letting go. MCU is a definitely big crux of pop culture, and I'm in there, man. I'm in it to win it, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? I play both sides anyways when it comes to DC and in Marvel. I'm a Marvel guy more so through and through, but DC they have great stories and they have great characters to build upon. If you do them right, they can be great. And if you put James Gunn over there and he actually handles it and does great stuff with the people, Superman, Batman, Lobo, and stuff that characters people want to see and does it right and is able to bring us that like rated R and kind of more mature kind of stuff that we want to see, more graphic stuff, and just kind of eclipses MCU, I wouldn't be surprised. It's just they're able to admit their faults and actually start over and start from scratch and get people intrigued that way. I don't think MCU is ever going to do that. But anyways, let's get into this Loki review again. We're getting closer and closer on time. Ooh, 9 minutes. Woo, we're getting close. But yeah, episodes 4 and 5. Last week we reviewed episodes 1 or what episodes did I review? I put out a video where is reviewing episodes 1 through 3. So I want to do episodes 4 and 5 now. Episode 4 more so than 5 because they're kind of built on each other. Actually, spoiler review. Let me not get too far into that without saying spoiler review. Let's get some spoilers popping up on the screen, aka if you can. But I'm gonna do my due diligence and give y'all episode 4 and 5. But anyways, in episode 4, we more so see the conflict between getting Victor Timely to the TVA and getting him to understand we need him to get his temporal aura to stop the timelines from all being breached and everybody being destroyed. So we see a lot of that happening in episode 4 and the internal conflicts we have with that. We see Sylvie still trying to have internal conflict about killing Victor Timely because she still thinks that keeping him alive is kind of what brings everybody to being in the TVA in that kind of suffering situation where they're controlled and not able to live their real lives. I don't know, man. I'm confused in this one because I'm still kind of confused at what's real and what's not. We see Victor Timely actually volunteered to they'll go start the machine and try to fix the timelines and help everybody from being destroyed. But we see it when he instantly walks out there, he turns into skin and bones and gets noodlified. Episode 4 is just really interesting to me because it left us at a cliffhanger. All the stuff Loki was trying to do throughout all the episodes kind of was null and void because they were too late. I don't know. To me in watching heavy spoilers just I'm always trying to think above and beyond the plot. Me personally, I think some of these deeper is going on, but after watching episodes 5 and watching the review episode, it makes sense a lot more that way. But yeah, we see Loki trying, dealing with Ouroboros, dealing with He Who Remains, just kind of dealing with the starting of the TVA, the idea of how the TVA is getting created. We see Ouroboros feeding information to Victor Timely, who eventually becomes He Who Remains, who eventually creates a TVA as we think. But to me personally, I feel like Ouroboros has way more control over what's going on. It's just weird. It's just weird because He Who Remains sees all and was preparing for all. And him and Rabona going back and giving Victor Timely the book, I feel like was a failsafe for the stuff that happened in the future, which may have started a never-ending cycle of no matter what happens, He Who Remains or Ouroboros would just create the TVA or have the idea. What do they call it? The bootstrap paradox, to where, I don't know, it's just the Loki being involved in everything, going back and jumping from time to time and giving people information, telling Ouroboros what's going on in the future, having talking to him in the past. It's just, what do they call it in heavy spoilers? A whole bunch of time travel, wobbly shit, hobbly wobbly. It's just confusing. But ultimately, if we're going to be keeping 100% trill, what happened in the end of the episode 4 is pretty much they failed. It seemed as though they failed. Loki wasn't able to get done what he needed to get done to save the time stream. Mobius and Ouroboros and B-15, all of them were hoping that once they got He Who Remains in the office or able to get him in the suit out there, his temporal aura will be able to shut everything down and go, back to the way it was. And once he died and everybody died at the end of episode 4, we thought it was over. We thought everything was done for. But we come to episode 5 and everybody's okay. But not in the regular form. Of course, everybody's not in the TVA. We come back with Loki actually time jumping again. We're like, damn, we're back to this. We thought we got over this, but he actually was time jumping again. he wasn't in control of anywhere he was able to be, just like he was in the beginning of the series. But we saw him jumping from. It was interesting because he was jumping specifically to these timelines to where everybody that he was friends with at the TVA actually were in their timelines. So I guess in episode 4, it kind of just reverted them back to their original actual lives before they came to the TVA. So we saw that B-15. I hope that's her name. I'm not saying that wrong. But the lady from was in oh gosh, a Lovecraft Country with Jonathan Majors, excuse me. She was an actual doctor in 2012 when the actual Avengers and Thanos attacked New York. That was kind of interesting to see her go back there. We saw one of the homies actually be a prisoner that was escaping from Alcatraz. We saw Mobius actually be a jet ski salesman. That's why he's so intrigued with jet skis. It was funny to see that and see that whole interaction. We saw Mobius was an actual author of science fiction. And his books didn't do too well, but ironically, one of his best-selling books was the TVA guidebook, which was in control of time and actually had a big ass effect on the world. So he did become famous as a writer. And we saw Sylvie, of course, working at the McDonald's she chose to go to and just settle in and create a life that way. We saw Loki trying to convince all these people throughout his time jumping to come back to the TVA and try to rescue it from the world being destroyed by these these time anomalies that are killing everybody. And throughout the situation, I guess, Loki is kind of trying to get everybody back together, but he has to convince everybody because they have no memory of the TVA ever existing. So it's kind of hard for him to do so. And he's jumping all over the world's timeline. I mean, 1966, 2012, 2022, 1982. So he's going to all these different years to meet these people and grab them and bring them to the TVA, get them together to Ouroboros and try to figure out what they can do to stop what happened in episode 4 from actually happening and them save the world. Which is kind of interesting because, I mean, we actually see throughout the episode that nobody actually really wants to be there. Nobody believes Loki, but he's actually the only one that believes in the TVA, which was kind of crazy seeing his growth from the beginning of the series to where he didn't believe nothing that was going on in the TVA. He was so skeptical. He tried to do whatever he can to get out of the TVA and bring down the TVA, but now he's ironically trying to bring it back together. But yeah, that was interesting as well. They got him all in a room, got him with the plan, got the plan together, and then we saw the scene where everything just started unraveling where they were, which was nuts because that made you think, even though they were in that little central area all together in Ouroboros's office, everywhere they came from, those timelines were being unwound just like that. So it's crazy. Mobius had kids. Those kids are probably dead now if he tries to go back. You know what I'm saying? That was hella sad to see. But then you see the last piece of the team that they needed was Sylvie and her to be so reluctant to help. And it was like, these people are going to die if you don't help Sylvie. And she was like, nah, I'm about to go back and just listen to some music. And then all of a sudden you saw that music in the record company or the record shop turning into noodles and shit like that. That shit was dope. And she was like, all right, I'm down to help you. And then it was too late because once they got back, they turned into noodles too. And then all of a sudden we kind of realized that Loki found his why in that moment of everybody dying in Ouroboros's office. And if you remember, in the beginning of the episode when he met Ouroboros, he was trying to help him control his time slips. And one of the things he said was try to find your why. Maybe that's how you control how you time slip. But Loki didn't really believe that at the time and he was trying and it didn't work. But once everybody was dying and he saw everybody dying and saw Sylvie dying, he was like, oh, nah, I got to try this again. And that's when it worked. And he realized towards the end of the episode that he was able to control his time slips. And that's what he has to do to travel in time to save the world and actually go back to before the collider exploded and before everybody died to try to save the world. Which is an interesting way to put it, man. I don't know if it's too on the nose. I don't know if that's something that should have happened. I don't know if they should have made it a little bit more difficult for him to figure out what he needed to do to fix the time stream. But I guess Loki has time powers. I guess he's going to be able to go back and fix shit. And after listening to heavy spoilers and listening to their theory again, spoiler alert, maybe Loki was actually the person that's controlling the TVA. Maybe he's the person that created the TVA and put He Who Remains in place to control the timelines, and he was actually the person pulling the strings. Maybe him doing what he's doing right now, putting all the TVA people together, the main TVA people, is what actually happened when he first created the TVA. And this is him doing it all over again. You know what I'm saying? This is us seeing it for the first time. Him grabbing everybody, him grabbing Victor Timely and going back to the TVA, him getting fried, just releases his temporal aura, and which makes the time stream do what it does now. I don't know. This is not coming from my head. This is from heavy spoilers. Go check out their video on the review of episode 5. He went into some shit, man. Me personally, my theory was simple as, oh, wait, because he had another theory. Actually, this came from him too. So he changed from that episode to this episode. Maybe Ouroboros was jealous of him giving He Who Remains the idea to create the TVA and never getting no credit for him. They stuck him in the basement, didn't wipe his memory, and just forgot about him. You know what I mean? And maybe he resents He Who Remains and everybody in the TVA for that, and he's just messing up everything to prove that he is the person who has the power and deserves the power. But that Loki stuff that he was saying, I guess in the comics they have some relation to something that they did when they're in the time stream in the intro, when they had like the green streams on the side. There's a comic book that has Loki controlling these green streams that were similar to those streams that were in the opening. So a lot of connective tissue, but who knows, man? Watch it for yourself. Come up with your own predictions. That's what Heavy Spoiler said. I like to listen to him because he's pretty awkward. I mean, awkward, pretty accurate at times. Awkward too, but he's funny as hell and accurate as hell sometimes as well. So if you want to check out some spoilers and some reviews, go check that out. And just real quickly here, check out Invincible Season 2, Episode 1 just dropped. If you're ready for that gore and to pick up where they left off in Season 2, excuse me, this jumps right in and puts you back where they left off. Nice 48-minute episode. Ryan Otley, Tyler Kirkland, they're doing their thing. I'm loving it already. Can't wait to see them. They're going to be at Comic-Con as well, so I'm going to get some autographs, show you guys the comic books and everything on Instagram. But yeah, Season 2 is great. Also, check out that Adam Eve prequel that came out. And Gen V, man. Gen V, they did a finale this week too. The ending of that shit was crazy. Go check it out before I review it. I don't want to give it away too early. But shit, man, all that shit they did in that season, and it comes down to that at the end, bro. Dumbass. I ain't gonna spoil it because there is a cameo that you guys are going to see and like. So I'll give you guys a little bit on that, and I'll let it breathe until next episode. But man, great show. The Boys is a great show to me as well. A lot of people are kind of turned off by the gore and the craziness of it, but if you watch the story and just watch what happens in it and just kind of get down with the show, you realize, get past all the weird shit. Don't watch it with your moms, your grandma. I don't know if you can even watch it with your girlfriend. Girls, if you like it, I appreciate that because you gotta have a interesting and specific taste and sense of humor to be able to watch that. But yeah, this is the end of the episode. Well, I want to let y'all know where to find your boy at is SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. You know where to find your boy. If you look for the podcast, it's Best of Bias everywhere. Check it out. Type it in. You'll find the website. Type that into YouTube. You'll see all the videos that AKA is beautifully provided for us, man. About almost 200 of them things by now. This is episode 185. You'll see a bunch of stuff on there, videos, B-roll, everything. Give us a like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell so you don't miss any. Let your friends know about it, man, because we up here every week. We try to give y'all some content, no matter what it is, what y'all want to see. We probably gonna have it on the pod, so tune in, let everybody know about it. Friday, Saturday is one of those days, man, and usually I shoot for Fridays, don't get me wrong, but if you don't see it on Friday, you know it's for sure gonna be out on Saturday, unless I'm skipping a week, in which I'll let y'all know, and it's very rarely I do so you ain't really got to worry about that. Merchandise, hit me up. I know a lot of you guys have been hitting me up already on Instagram. Perfect way to do it. YouTube, perfect way to do it. You have my number, perfect way to do it. Website is still gonna be under maintenance to get the the whole where you can buy it directly online. I'm still kind of getting that together, but believe me, I still got plenty of merch. Dad hats, bucket hats, beanies. Beanies are going fast. Get yours for the winter. Still got t-shirts, a couple of sizes left in those t-shirts, but you already see the new caps. I got the Thunderbolt added to the side. We still have the gold Thunderbolts we're going to add to the left side for when you do get them. So just let me know. They're all available, man. And hope you guys enjoy your weekend and hope your teams do as well as my teams do. I'm just wishful thinking right now. I'm just hoping that everybody does good and I don't have to be upset this weekend. But love y'all. Enjoy some sports. I hope y'all enjoyed the pod. Give some reviews, 5-star reviews on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, of course. Just go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know what I can do better. New guests. I'm gonna try to get some new guests on here for next week's episode. I'm gonna start to plan that earlier than later so I can get some people on here and have them ready for when I'm gonna record. But it's the Best of Bias podcast. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your weekend. Stay hydrated because I know I need to be hydrated. Go hug somebody because we breathing today, and that's all we can ask for. You know what I'm saying? Love somebody because I love y'all. It's the Best of Bias podcast. Where that theme song at? It's right here. All right then.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias.